Dear students, today we are going to start with the first presentation regarding the fluid mechanics 1 lab part. In the lab part, you are going to be discuss about the layout of your fluid mechanics lab. We have various jobs, 8 to 9 jobs we are going to be performed. The criteria will be like that. In the midterms, you are going to be have only the demonstrations of all the jobs, and in the final terms, you are going to become on campus, and in the laboratories, you are going to perform your experiments. So today we are going to start with the demonstrations of your job number 1 to study the layout of fluid mechanics laboratory. So for that, you need to be purchase a manual, lab manual with one-sided lining and second other side blank. On the writing side, you are going to be write about the description, and on the other side, you are going to paste the pictures, and you can just have draw the layout of your lab. You will be familiar with the layout actually. So what is this layout is? So first of all, you need to write about the fluid mechanics in your lab manual, that your mechanics or the field of the mechanics or branch of mechanics which deals with the behavior or response of the fluid in the state of rest or motion and detection of forces. So if action is going to be or the forces are going to be applied on any body that is fluid, mean gas or the liquid, then how it is going to be behaved. Either your fluid is in rest or in motion. In both of the cases, what is going to be the response and the behavior of your body under the action of the forces, that you need to be discussed. All of the rules, all of the principles, all of the equations of the flow of these type of the fluids under the action of the forces, you are going to be discussed in this particular branch of mechanics. 1.2 is the layout of the fluid mechanics lab. It is the plan or the drawing showing the arrangement of the various equipments which are in the laboratory, and it involves the brief description of the machine parts in the lab, brief introduction to the machines involved, the name of the machine, function and working principle. So actually what you need to do, you need to first of all draw the layout of the fluid mechanics lab, and then you are going to be show the different locations of the machines putting or placing within the particular lab, so that if you are going to be enter within the lab, so whole of the plan and the drawings must be in your mind. You can easily approach a particular machine, and if you are going to be perform any particular type of the experiments, you must know that which type of the machine is going to be used to perform which type of the experiment. Okay, so name of the machine must be known to you, its function, okay, and finally the working principle, because if you need to operate that particular machine, then if it is hydraulically operated or it is electrically operated or manually operated, so you must know about that, so that you can go over there, you can stand over there, and you can start working over there. Now this slide going to be discuss or going to be give you a demonstration about the drawing or the plan of your fluid mechanics lab, in which you can see the first of all which type of the things must be mentioned over here. The first of all, the entrance of your lab, where is the point where you are going to be enter and where is the point where you are going to be exit. This fluid mechanics lab is just in front of your survey lab. You have performed your survey, maybe one or two, both of the subjects. So surveying and leveling lab, where it is, so just at that particular in front of that or side of that, you can see fluid mechanics lab. Okay, so on one side you are going to be enter, and on the other side you can see the exit point. And once you are going to be entering the lab, what you can see a blackboard over there, just on the left side of the, when you are going to be entering, then on right hand side, left hand side, you can see all of the hall, a large hall where the machines are going to be placed, and on right hand side you can see the blackboard, and also another room on when you are going to pass by this blackboard, then you can see an instructor room. Okay, this may be a notice board or blackboard like this, but it's not exactly now used for the teaching purpose. That is just to just display certain things. So just ahead of that, you can see the instructor room on the other corner of the room. Okay, this instructor room is going to be having a staff room, you can say, instructor room you can say. So there one person can place over there, and one office, small office is there. Okay, so for the lab supervisor to be sit over there. Then what you can see the certain blocks, a rectangular or the square blocks you can see. Okay, what is going to show these blocks? These blocks are going to show the numbers on it. These numbers are further in the layout description is going to give you the name with that particular number you are going to locate. These are actually legends. So with the legends, what you can do, you can just find out the different other objects or the machines or the equipments, those are related to number 1. Okay, number 2 mean in that particular number 2 machine, the name of the machine that we will discuss ahead of it later on, that is going to be placed at number 2. Then number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 and 15. Total 15 number of the equipments or the machineries we are going to be discussed in this layout, and these are the placement. So this drawing is, if it is with you, and the detail of this numbering, that at which number mean which machine, name of the machine, then you can locate. If this particular type of drawing is with you, then you can locate that particular type of the machine. 1.3 List of the equipments. Hydraulic punch, fluid friction operators. At number 3, cavitation demonstration unit. At number 4, wind tunnel. At number 5, basic hydrology operators. At number 6, universal pump test ring. Number 7, water hammer operators. Number 8, adjustable bed flow channel. Then you have list of equipments. Continuing, laminar flow table, redwood viscometer, metacentric height operators. At number 12, hydrostatic force operators. Number 13, impact of jet operators. Number 14, Bernoulli's operators. And number 15, RFS and jet operators. All of these names may be very new to you. Okay, so at that time don't get confused with this. Okay, one by one we will discuss a very brief introduction about these machines, that which type of experiment is going to be performed. So one by one, if you are go on studying your theoretical part, your chapters are or the topics are you are going to be understanding. So this understanding of these equipments and machineries are also going to be understandable. So we are going to start with the description. The first machine that is placed in the fluid mechanics lab, that is hydraulic bench. It works as a supporting equipment for a few other equipments. It is used to compute the actual discharge, Q actual volume over the time. So if the water is going to be flowing, fluid is going to be flowing, any type of the fluid, maybe oil, maybe water, okay, its flow is very important to be determined. In the fluid mechanics, this flow word you will going to be discussed again and again. Okay, discharge, in other words, the flow is going to be technically going to be we are going to say this as discharge. So how the discharge or the flow is going to be calculated? By dividing the volume passing through any cross section with it is per unit time. In 1 second, if let's suppose that particular much amount of the volume is going to pass through a certain cross section, then we can say this is the discharge of the volume. This is a comparative term. Okay, with the same cross section, if with the per unit time more volume is going to be passed, then we can say this fluid have more discharge and this fluid have lesser discharge. So the volume of the fluid is collected in the hydraulic bench is in known time to compute the actual discharge. Okay, so this particular type of the machine you will see over there, in which the upper side is like a tub. Okay, in this tub the cross section is going to be defined and the water is allowed to flow within that particular tub. And here at the lower part you can see the different pressurized and different pumps and valves you can see over there. Okay, so in which you can control the pressure of the water that is flowing through this hydraulic bench. Next is fluid friction operators. Okay, so this is very approximately larger, you can say that this is attached with the hydraulic bench again. Okay, so as we have discussed, that hydraulic bench is also a supportive equipment or machine that is going to support the other ones. Okay, other type of the machine. So here you can see another application of the hydraulic bench, in which it is going to be installed with different pipes coming through it. Okay, so this flow is going to be running through a fluid friction operators, in which the cross-sectional area and the pumps of the different pipes are going to be reduced and increased and reduced and increased, and then we are going to be see that how much friction is going to be produced by this particular fluid. Friction is going to be produced due to the shear stresses within the layers of the fluid. How the fluid is going to be resisted to be flowed. Okay, this is going to be resisted by the layers, disturbance within the layers of the water or the fluid that is flowing within the particular closed channel, closed pipes. So if within the pipes water is going to be flowing, then its layers can be disturbed each other, and the friction, due to the friction of the internal surface of the pipe, the disturbance is going to be created within the flow, and the actual flow that is anticipated, that may be reduced. Okay, so that may be a loss of the discharge. So that loss of the discharge for the water flowing through any closed pipe must be known to us, and that is going to be calculated by using this type of the machine, that is fluid friction operators. So a floor standing operators to allow to investigate the phenomena of laminar, transitional and turbulent flows in pipe system. Transitional mean that one layer without disturbing the other is going to be submerged within the other layer, but turbulent mean it is the one layer of the water that is flowing is going to be disturb the other, it is going to create the turbulent flows. This operators is used to find energy losses as a result of fluid friction in pipe flow. That is the same I have told you, that the losses are very important through the flow of the water, that because at the starting end and at the last end of the flow of any fluid, it must be known to us, so that what we are getting as an outcome and what is we are putting in a certain channel or in a pipe as an inflow. So that inflow and outflow difference must be known to us. The operators consist of a system of pipe fittings and valves at different points, including the scales to provide the energy losses. So that energy losses can be computed theoretically and also by the experimentally. You are going to perform this experiment also, in which theoretically and experimentally you are going to determine and you are going to compare the losses. Next operators is cavitation demonstration unit. It deals with the demonstration and observation of cavitation phenomena at flowing rates of the fluid. What is cavitation? Cavitation is a very huge issue which deals with the formation of bubbles when pipe gets small. That you must know. Pressure becomes very low and velocity becomes very high, and this is going to create again a loss of energy. Okay, again the outflow and inflow will not be the same. If the water is going to be running through a pipe and its cross-sectional area is going to be reduced, then the bubbles are going to be formed within that particular fluid, and at the end it is going to create energy losses. This apparatus is designed to show the cavity formation during the flow of a fluid through pipes. We can see the cavities through visible pipes and their effects on pressure through the meter reading. And similarly, by using this apparatus, theoretically you are also going to determine the loss, and also you are going to be determined by using this cavitation demonstration unit, and you are compared values. Next is wind tunnel. This apparatus helps to study the aerodynamic effects on the objects. This apparatus helps us to study the aerodynamic effects on objects. The study of these effects helps us to design a stable structure regarding these factors. It is used in aerodynamic research to study the effect of air moving past solid objects. A wind tunnel consists of a tubular passage with the object and a test mounted in the middle. Air is made to move past the object by a powerful fan system or other means. The test object, often called a wind tunnel model. So this is maybe not used by in your experimentations, but again it is placed in the lab, so that if someone is interested in the wind pressure and the fluid as a gas, to study its flow and its pressure, so we can use this particular apparatus. Next one is basic hydrology apparatus. So here you can see also a certain number of the pipes that is coming from one particular channel, and then it is going through a certain flowing type of the apparatus. So this apparatus helps in observation of hydrological parameters: vapor pressure, precipitation process. Precipitation mean the rainfall. Vapor pressure mean how much amount of the water is vaporized and become a part of the environment, and then again it is going to be precipitate and come again onto the ground. So this is going to be called as hydrology. So this hydrological process that is going to be happened with the waters within the atmosphere, that is going to be dealt by using this particular apparatus. This apparatus is a self-contained unit for studying the basic hydrology, and it consists of a large stainless steel rectangular tank with adjustable tilting mechanism. The compartments at each end of the tank are connected to the catchment area by a wire mesh to allow flow between the compartments and the catchment. Then comes universal pump test ring. This is also a pump, okay, kind of a pump that is going to be used to determine the different pump action of the water. This apparatus is to use the different properties of the various pumps. It has been designed to demonstrate the operating characteristics, head flow curves and efficiency, and of a series of different types of the pumps, each having broadly similar input. As an option, the unit can be fitted with two identical centrifugal pumps to allow the simple series parallel pump configurations to be demonstrated. This type of the machine can be used. You are going to be using fluid mechanics 2 subject, in which you are going to be discuss about the pumps and turbines and its working to determine its efficiency. That for that particular purpose you can use this machine. Number 7 is water hammer operators. So this water hammer operators, you can see again a part of hydraulic bench. You can see the name on this particular machine. So this is again a third application of the hydraulic bench. Okay, that is going to be support this water hammer operators. The function of this operators is to demonstrate sudden rise in pressure of the fluid in tunnels or closed conduits by quick closing of the valve. It also contains hydraulic bench. A piezometric tube is attached just before the valve to see the pressure head increase in response to the valve shutting. Okay, so if you are going to be hammer me that the sudden thrush or the pressure of the water, if it is going to be observed by any kind of tunnel, then how it is going to be calculated. Number 8, adjustable bed flow channel. Okay, so this is again going to give you a flow. You can see above the water is going to be passed or going to be flowed by this particular type of the channel. This is fully recirculating type equipment. Water is supplied from a sump tank through a pump to the channel. The channel is fully transparent. The slope of the bed can be adjusted manually or optionally electrically with high precision to give positive or negative slopes. Bed material can also be changed. Okay, so this is actually going to give you a slope stability experiments. Okay, so if you are going to be design a dam, so for the dam, if the slope is going to be given, that same slope you can model here in the lab, and you can flow the water, and on the downstream and upstream of the dam you can find out that how much discharge is going to be differentiated. Next is laminar flow table. Laminar flow table, this apparatus is used to study the laminar flow, streamline flow, which occurs when fluid flows in parallel layers with no disruptions between the layers. I have told you that if the layers are water layer of the fluid is going to be flow without disturbing each other, then it will be a laminar flow. Okay, and if it is going to disturb, then it will be the turbulent one. So turbulent, the opposite to that is the laminar, that is uniform and streamlined flow. So with no disturbance. So this apparatus helps us to study the pattern of the flow of the fluid when striking through the objects such as stones, etc., and is plotted on a graph. This laminar flow table has been designed to simulate ideal fluid flow and give clear visualization of the flow patterns created using water as a working fluid. So where you are going to be design the laminar flow, so first of all you need to do the experiment, so by using this particular lab equipment. 10th is Redwood viscometer. This apparatus is used to determine the viscosity. We relate the viscosity of the fluid with the time of the collection of a certain volume. Maybe you have known with this particular equipment, viscometer. Okay, so the Redwood viscometer, Redwood is by the name of the manufacturer or the scientist, and then it is a viscometer, consists of a vertical cylindrical oil cup. You are going to perform your experiment on this with an orifice in the center of its base. Orifice mean that a particular jet, okay, very small, you can say, diameter in which the water is going to be flowed. The orifice can be closed by a ball. A hook pointed upward serves as a guide mark for filling the oil. The cylindrical cup is surrounded by the water bath, and the water bath maintain the temperature of the oil to be tested at constant temperature. And whatever you are going to be do, actually the flow is going to be determined. The collection in the cup of this particular oil or particular liquid is going to be determined with respect to the time. The time stopwatch is going to be started. The time is noted down. Okay, and then you have the density, and you have a certain constant KT. We will discuss later on when we are going to perform this experiment what this KT is, and finally you are going to determine the viscosity of this particular fluid by using this Redwood viscometer. Then is 11th, metacentric height operators. This is also very important. So what is metacentric height? Is the measurement of the initial static stability of a floating body. So whenever the stability is required for a boat, okay, this metacentric height operators is very important to determine the stability of the floating body within the water. So like a ship or the boat, okay, so that is, you can say, you can model that particular boat, and you can find out that where it is going to be stable and it can float very easily without sinking. So this particular type of the operators is very useful for that particular type of objects. Those needs to be float on the surface of the water. It is used to determine the metacentric height of the floating body, like model of a ship. Okay, it is calculated as the distance between the center of gravity of the ship and its metacenter. What metacenter is? Center of gravity you maybe know, but what metacenter is we will discuss later on in detail. A larger metacentric height implies greater initial stability against overturning. The center of rotation of the floating body is called metacenter. It's also written over here. Okay, so when body is rotating, okay, then whatever the point center where it is going to stabilize, it is called metacenter. In detail we will discuss how it is going to be determined theoretically, and practically you will determine by using these operators, and again you are going to compare both of these values. 12th is Bernoulli operators. It's very important and very multi-purpose Bernoulli operators. This equipment is designed and fabricated to demonstrate the practical implication of Bernoulli's theorem. Bernoulli's theorem is, you can say, act as a very useful theorem, very useful, giving you very useful empirical equations and theoretical equations. By using, you can find out the flow of discharge. Okay, and till now these Bernoulli equations are very important, and we are going to use it, and we are going to do the derivation in theoretical part, and also we are going to perform this experiment to determine the flows practically in the lab by using these Bernoulli's operators. It has a circular tapered conduit. Pressure taping are provided at different locations in convergent and divergent sections. What are these? Maybe at that time it may be confused. You may get confused. Okay, but when we are going to perform an experiment, then you will understand by these terms. An arrangement is done to conduct the experiment on different flow rates. The flow rate of the water is measured with the help of measuring tank and it's a stopwatch. So actually, what is the meaning? Basically, this Bernoulli's apparatus is used to determine the flow of the water, okay, with different discharges, with different diameters, and then you are going to be compare this. 13 is impact of jet operators. Okay, so jet, I have told you that if you are going to suddenly reduce the diameter and with the pressure, the nozzle is very small, and then you are going to be find out the pressure and the flow, it is going to be called as impact of jet operators. This operator is used to verify impulse movement arm principle by closing the nozzle. This consists of clear acrylic test cylinder into which the water is fed vertically through a nozzle. The water strike a target mounted on a stem. A weight pan mounted at the top of the stem allows the force of the water to be counterbalanced by the applied masses. Okay, so in this way, what is the practical implementation of this operators is when the turbines are going to be designed. So the turbine, how the turbine wheel is going to be circulated, it is by the pressure of the water that is going to be implemented on the you can say the wings of the wheel. Okay, the wheel having a different wings, and on those particular wings in the form of cup or the flat plate, the water is going to be in the form of jet or in the form of pressure from the pipe. It is going to be strike or going to be targeted on that on those particular wings or on particular cups, and this is going to be moved in a circular way, and then the whole wheel of the turbine is going to be moved, and further mechanically it is going to produce the electricity. So in this way, the water pressure is going to be converted into the mechanical pressure, mechanical energy, so that the turbine can be moved, its wheel can be moved, and then it is going to be converted into electrical energy. Orifice and jet operators. So this is again same thing, but with a different ways, that you are going to be close a certain or certain jets or certain nozzles and going to be open it, and then you are going to be determine the pressure at the end. So this operators is used to calculate coefficient of an orifice, coefficient of discharge, coefficient of velocity, coefficient of contraction, etc. These all theoretically we will discuss, and then we will perform an experiment. So the trajectory of the jet may be plotted using the vertical needles. In operation, a piece of paper is attached to the backboard and the needles are adjusted to flow the profile of the waterlet. The needles may be locked using a screw on the mounting bar. The profile may be plotted by marking the positions of the needle top. So in this way, the water is going to be pressurized, going to be passed through the orifice, and then its pressure is going to move the needles, and how it is going to be give you a path or the flow path, it is going to be determined by using this operator. Hydrostatic force operators. This is the last one operators placed in the fluid mechanics lab, and maybe the last lab you are going to perform. This operator helps in determining the hydrostatic force acting on a submerged plane having toroid. What toroid is? Toroid is disturbed by putting the weights in the loading baton attached to one end of the supporting assembly, and by pouring the water then in the tank helps to bring the toroid back to its original position. This toroid is actually the quarter circle. Okay, so you have a full circle. If let's suppose it's not a semicircle, it is a quarter circle. This quarter circle has its own geometry and its own balancing position. So you are going to be first of all unbalance it, and then we are going to be determine its balancing position, and then we are going to be perform an experiment theoretically and also experimentally. Finally, in the lab manual copy that you are going to be purchased, you are going to be write about the comments. So comments you can write when you are going to be perform it practically. Okay, so in the second half, in finals, when you will come back on campus, visit the campus, then you are going to be visit the laboratory, and there your own comments after visiting the laboratory you are going to be write over there when you are going to be actually perform your layout. So what you need to do, you need to just write all of these stuff on your lab manual copy. Okay, till then when you are going to be join back, and you are going to perform this first experiment. So this is going to be end with the demonstration of your job layout. So if a certain questions be there, you can ask anytime in your group with through your CR, and or you can email me. Thank you so much.